Councilman Broadus has agreed to lead us in the pledges.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Councilman Baker, would you lead us in prayer?
Let us pray. Dear most Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, a day we'll never see again. Dear most Heavenly Father, thank you for waking us up and starting on our daily journey. And once again, most Heavenly Father, thank you for blessing our firefighters, our EMS, our law enforcement, and our military that protect us on a daily basis. And as we get ready to go into our meeting, just be with each one of us and just bless us to have a pleasant meeting and to do the best for this great city. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, visitor comments. Anybody out there have anything they'd like to address council tonight? Nope. Commendations. All right. Presentations.
Yes, so we have a special presentation tonight. Miss Laura Marie Bernard actually got the Texas Association of Municipal Information Officers award for Best Small Shop One-Man Band. This was a new category. TML wrote and spoke a little bit about Laura Marie's accomplishments for the city, so I'll just read what they said. They said, during the first year that the city of Lake Jackson hired a full-time PIO to handle its communications, it has shown what a communications professional can do. Social media, videos, the PEG channel, and online magazines are reaching beyond the communications program to transform the way that this city staff does business with its residents and each other. Judges cited the development of impactful and achievable goals as a great strategy, saying the work in Lake Jackson is a hallmark of effective communications and is also trait exhibited by all the projects featured. Nicely done. So we just as staff wanted to congratulate Laura Marie, and this is her award.
Oh, it goes back to Modesto's. Okay.
I'm playing you tonight.
Oh, okay, all right, okay.
Our roles are all messed up
This
tonight.
is the award, y'all, it's just a little award.
No, we've been really lucky here to have Laura Marie.
There we go.
And we're proud of you.
So, what Megan didn't tell you is what I told Modesto when I brought it back from wherever we were. I think that what this award really does is it shows that you as a council really stepped up. I mean, I remember in 2018 when John Boehm called me and asked me to do economic development materials as a consultant, and I didn't hear from Lake Jackson for 2 years. And then Modesto calls me one night and says, can you come tomorrow morning? We have a water crisis. And as you well know, I didn't leave after that. But I did know that during that whole time, the council had a vision, and the council had on their strategic plan that communications was important. So when I brought this back, I really felt like it was a testament to you guys for your leadership and a testament to Modesto for standing up and saying, yes, this is something that we need. So this is as much your award, and I'm just glad to have been part of it.
Thank you, Laura Marie. You did so good.
All right, before we get started, we have an opportunity. Any declarations of conflict of interest from any member of council? None? All right, move on to consent agenda. I guess just real quick, what's happening tonight, due to circumstances way beyond his control, Mayor Rosnowski is not here today, so it's Mayor Pro Tem I'm filling in. And then we've got Councilman Blanchard is joining us via Zoom tonight. So everybody say hi, Councilman Blanchard. So, all right. So consent agenda. Item number 1, approval of minutes, June 6, 2022. Item 2, accept board and commission minutes, Museum Board 061421. Keep Lake Jackson Beautiful 041922. Library Board 021522. Number 3, accept the resignation from Planning Commission member Joe Reinhardt. Number 4, discuss and approve an amendment to lift station number 1 preliminary engineering project with Kimley Horn for an additional amount of $16,700, revised not to exceed total of $93,000. Number 5, authorize city manager to execute a contract with Prime Controls for lift station SCADA monitoring upgrades through GSA contract GS 35F0455W in an amount not to exceed $108,688. And then number 6, approve resolution number 897, amending the PEG fund in the amount of $49,000 for the streaming upgrades in council chambers. So is there any item that council would like to remove? None? Okay, we'll take a motion.
Ms. Mayor, then I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 6 as presented.
Second.
Okay, so a motion by Sinhania and a second
By Baker.
Baker. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Okay. All right, on to regular agenda. Number 1, we're going to discuss and consider waiving the Civic Center rental fees for August 5th through 6th, 2022 for the Dinosaur George event being held on Saturday, August 6th, 2022. And we've got Miss Wanda Coker here with us today.
Yes, so Wanda's going to explain a little bit about the event, if council's interested in that. The reason she is here today is that the Brazosport Museum of Natural Sciences, who we do give money to every year through hotel occupancy taxes, is going to be doing a Dino Day event. It is an educational event. They asked to have the fees waived at the Civic Center, and so we put them through the public purpose test, which is in your packet. Unfortunately, staff does not feel that they meet the public purpose test, but we did discuss with Wanda, both Modesto and I, and feel that this is an event that we could co-sponsor because we allocate funds to the museum every year. So essentially that would allow us to waive the fees without going through the public purpose test, and then they would just pay the setup fee and the cleaning fee if there was one, like normal. So we have done co-sponsorships in the past with other groups that we give funding to in the same manner. So this would not be a new thing, but that is up to council, and I will turn it over to Wanda to explain the event as little or as much as she would like to.
Thank you. Yes, I come here.
Yes, ma'am.
Just give us your name and your address.
Well, I am Wanda Coker. I am president of the Brazosport Museum of Natural Science. My personal address is 202 Canyon Oak Drive here in Lake Jackson. So what we have done since the 80s is had Dino Day of some sort, arts and crafts. We have had Dinosaur George here before with a mini museum that would fit in our museum, but this is his full museum, and we just don't have the room for it. And what we originally set out to do was to provide free of charge to the community, to give back to the community an opportunity to see prehistoric evidence of dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals that roamed the earth at one time via land and sea. And this museum is laid out in an educational way. He's been doing this for years. It has never been in Brazoria County, though, as a full museum. So we were excited to be able to bring it here. So after talking with, I believe, Sally and Modesto last fall, when we first had applied to come, it was suggested that we sponsor a group here locally, which we are more than happy to do, So we have decided to sponsor, is that the right word, to sponsor the Dream Center by asking donations of either a food item, school supplies, since it's that time of year, or even a cash donation. This would be a donation, though, and not required. We would not turn away anybody that wants to come in and see, understanding that not everybody has the ability, to give, and we want this open to all people. Like I said earlier, this began in the 80s. We typically do it the first weekend of August. Last year, we had arts and crafts, and I realized that it was after COVID, but we had 763 people pre-register to come to arts and crafts of dinosaurs. And granted, all of those people didn't show up that had pre-registered, but we still had over 400 people. We've been running about 400 people the last, not 20, but I guess 19 and 21. It's just a very popular item. We do try to advertise via our Facebook. The center, the Brazosport Fine Arts Council, has a website and Facebook page that they also advertise for us. It reaches quite a few people. And, we expect this to bring in many people from the surrounding counties as well as here in Missouri County, which of course would qualify for the hot hotel occupancy tax requirements of bringing people in from outside of Missouri County into our restaurants, shopping, for the day, that type of thing. So that's just an added on to this, actually, for that. His museum does charge $3,500 plus travel and lodging that the museum will be paying for. With the addition of the $2,200, we're looking at a total of, which paper did I write it on? I think $5,700 to $6,500 total. Our museum is an all-volunteer museum. There is no paid staff, and the income is between $10,000 and $13,000 maybe, and that's strictly in memberships, donations, and then we have a small store. So to be able to bring in stuff like this takes up half of our income for the year, so it's not something we could do yearly, even though we would love to. And it's just our opportunity to give back to the community. So I would appreciate whatever y'all can do for us.
Ms. Coker, how are you guys advertising this event?
Typically, we do Facebook and then through the center Facebook and their website. We are not opposed to paid advertisement. We just found that it does not do real well for us, but we're not opposed to it if it were something y'all would ask us to do in exchange for some help with the monetary value. The center, though, reaches thousands of people, and so does our Facebook, actually. We have a good following, but also Dinosaur George has his own website. I sent y'all some information. I think y'all got via Sally sending y'all some things, and his goes out to probably 1 million people. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We held a online. Oh, that's what we did. I was trying to think what we did during COVID. In 2020, we did online, and he held a workshop via Facebook Live. And we've got so many new followers from that, and I don't even remember the thousands of people, just that in itself. And he will put that on his site as well to sponsor Showing Lake Jackson and our museum.
Ms. Coker, what are the times on this event?
It will be Saturday. I believe we're starting at 10. And I am not sure what the cutoff day is, but most of the day.
Okay.
But I believe we normally start at 10 because there's not a lot. People just don't get out any earlier than that on Saturday, or if they do, they're playing soccer or whatever. So
Also, I think you spoke with Modesto and Megan. I think they talked to you about the program maybe that we can try to work out. It was with the cleaning program we had done in the past, would something like that would help y'all or benefit y'all or something like that?
You're talking about the co-sponsorship
Yes,
that we
the
talked about earlier?
the
Yes, and
co-sponsorship.
Wanda's aware of that. That is something that Modesto and I both support. So it would be just waiving the fees, but they would still have to do any cleaning or setup fees. So
Okay.
it's very similar to what the public purpose test, if they waiving the fees would be.
As a co-sponsor.
Yes,
As a
Yes, sir.
co-sponsor.
And as a co-sponsor, we would list the city of Lake Jackson on all of our advertisements.
that'd be
So
amazing.
what room or rooms plural are y'all planning on using at the civic?
We have rented the ballroom,
The ballroom,
which is
okay.
the largest. Originally, all they had was the terrace rooms. And when that came open, we jumped on it real quick because he wants the size of a high school gym. I'm not sure what that square footage is, but if you see the pictures, he fills the place up.
Yeah. Staff believes it would be a great event for us to co-sponsor, especially since, like I said, we already give the museum funds. They're just spending money we already give them, so.
Could you explain a little bit how the co-sponsor work?
Yes, so it would just be, if council agrees, like she said, they would put us on any marketing material we do. We're actually gonna be doing this with another local organization because they're doing a job fair with us. So it's something that we do if we feel like the city or our citizens are getting a benefit out of it, we can co-sponsor it with them. This one fits perfectly though, because like I said, it's already money that the city has provided to them in a sense through the hotel occupancy tax. So they would just be giving us back money we've already
Already gave them.
given them.
If you don't do the co-sponsorship.
Correct.
Right.
So one other question, bringing up the hot tax, because one of the benefits of that is to bring outside business into the city of Lake Jackson. Have you considered partnering also with some of the local businesses, some of the restaurants and whatnot, to you just advertise with them, or, you know, hey, come do this, and come eat at Larkspur afterwards, or something, anything like that? Have y'all ever done anything like that?
We have not. We have partnered in the past with other museums, like the Lake Jackson Historical Museum. We just did a program together last September. I've talked to Freeport just a couple of weeks ago about maybe something in the future, but no, I mean, if somebody wants to guide me, I'd be more than happy. I'm not normally too shy to go talk to people. I'm extremely nervous tonight, but
We
You
don't
did
bite,
great.
I promise.
You did great.
I'm normally not, I don't have a problem walk up and talking to people, and no, that's not something that, are you talking about just putting out advertisement or actually?
Sure, just talking with the managers or the business owners, because, well, I mean, a lot of our restaurants around here, the business owners are usually there, just to actually go and talk with them directly, and say, would you like to do something with us? They may want to donate. They may say, hey, put this advertising out, we'll put your advertising out, sort of thing.
Okay,
So,
certainly not opposed to
just-
it. Be glad
Just
to
to help kind of bring more of the community involvement into it.
Right,
Bring
and
more awareness as well. So-
Yeah, more awareness of the event, absolutely.
I fully expect, even though I've not, I did talk to Lake Jackson to see if they would co-sponsor, the Lake Jackson Historical Museum, that is. They didn't feel it was, natural science was not their thing as far as doing that, but they were more than happy to advertise at the time. I know they've gone through some different directors and et cetera over there, but I would expect the same, that they would be willing as we advertise for them. So yes, those are some other outlets that we would be using for advertising.
All right. Any other discussion? All right. Hearing none, I'll take a motion.
So this would be a motion to like co-sponsor, to agree to co-sponsor. I'll make
And
that
waive the
motion.
fees. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
to co-sponsor the event and as a result of that co-sponsorship, to waive the fees for the
I
civic
second
center.
that motion.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
All right, thank y'all so much. I appreciate it.
Wanda, we'll reach out to you too after tonight.
Okay,
Perfect.
I would really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh. Thank you for volunteering. All right, item number 2, discuss and consider appointing a new member to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Joe Reinhardt. Ms. Sally?
Yes, well, Mayor Reinhardt has requested to leave the commission, and that leaves 1 year of his term. So this is to fill that unexpired term for the year, and then that person would be reappointed if wanted next year.
Okay.
And we have 4, I think we have 4 applicants for that.
5 now.
5.
With Jesse.
Okay, 5 now.
All right.
And it looks like most of them are here. So if you want to ask questions, you do have their application in front of you in a stack. And then I believe 4 out of the 5 are here. So if you have any questions.
Who are we missing? Who's not here?
I don't believe the first one, is it
Fire.
Aaron? No,
Nope.
BR is here.
Yep.
Mr. BR is here.
Is Aaron Smith here?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
That's one that was not here.
All right,
but everyone else is.
all right, Mr. BR, you mind coming up? Hi.
Hello.
All right, go ahead and everybody give your name and your address for us, the record.
My name is Shannon BR. I live at 108 Persimmon Lane. I don't know what to do with my hands.
So could you tell us why you're interested in the planning commission? And
I'm interested in the Planning Commission as being a, young person in this town. I'm looking to get more involved. Believe this is a good way. I've lived here my entire life, almost. My family moved here when I was 2 years old. I'm currently a homeowner here, and I'm, looking to get more involved, really. I think the long-range planning of the Planning Commission is something that I could be a asset to. Very good with, I'm sorry, I didn't know I was going to be doing this tonight,
okay.
so
It's
I'm
fine.
completely
We're
We're just
unprepared.
people, it's all right.
Anyway, I think that it would work with my, I have an aptitude for that, and I am a planner by trade. I know it's a little different for industrial, but anyway.
How long you been on traffic? I'm trying to remember.
It hasn't been long. A year, I think? No.
No, you've been on it, I think this is your third year? or
Really?
second-
Time flies
when you're
Yeah.
We didn't
Okay.
meet for a whole big time because
Yeah.
of COVID and all that.
Yeah.
So maybe
Yeah.
that-
That is true.
Okay. Is there anybody else have any other questions? All right, well, I appreciate your application, thank you.
Sorry.
All right, we got, next is Ms. Kay Applin.
Good evening.
Hi, welcome.
First of all, it's an honor to be even considered. I have served on many commissions in Lake Jackson, the county, and beyond. And this was always the one I thought I had the best aptitude for, having come from designing, rethinking, development, and rethinking the way that we can use property in a different way that the city holds. As far as the beauty of this city, it's incomparable. I've lived here all my life, 64 years. And I have no intention of leaving. Yeah. I have been a business owner for 30 years in Lake Jackson and also owned many other businesses through the past. I think I have a special knack for talking to TxDOT, Corps of Engineers, talking about roads, ingress, egress. I think that I know it fairly well. I've also worked with the county commissioners and various government agencies through my business life, both in West Columbia, here in Freeport, throughout the years. I have experience with natural disasters. Every year for the last 15 years, Brazoria County has asked me to keep Family Fitness opened during the time, and I did. And it was always assured to me by Centerpoint, DPS, our commissioners, that they could come. They asked if they could come. 200, 300 emergency rescue people in my parking lot for weeks. They brought us up first, and we served all of those emergency responders. We have 10 showers, 12 bathrooms, and 300 parking spaces. 2004 is the future of Lake Jackson. The little that is left. There's so little. But we also have the north side of 2004. I have been giving to this community. I passed the $1 million mark years ago. In kind and community involvement. I feel like I've almost had every kid of my friends have their first job with me. And I know what it takes to make Lake Jackson really the city of enchantment. Sometimes I don't call it that. Just sometimes you think, oh, no, no, no. But then you realize, this is home. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not bound by any position. I will retire at some point at almost 65. I suppose it's inevitable, right? I am a concerned citizen for Lake Jackson, a fair and thoughtful person to represent, and I will take everything very seriously, and I'm a team player, and I believe in the consensus of the majority. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions?
Me?
No. I was just asking them if they have any
Oh,
questions.
yes, sure. I've developed Northwood, Oyster Bend Estates, Meadowwood, Timberwood. Through all these years, we've built bridges, drainage, culverts. What's happening right now downtown, I think I'm the only person that drives around downtown in little circles to see how it's going.
Progress.
Because I totally understand that part of it. Infrastructure and forward planning is everything.
All right, thank you, Ms. Applin, we appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, we said Aaron Smith is not here?
Correct.
Okay, so.
Ms. Buell is.
Ms. Buell? Oh, I just couldn't see you sitting over there. Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right, what's your name and address?
My name is Susan Buell, and I live at 509 Oak Drive.
Well, Ms. Buell, what makes you want to do planning commission?
Well, it's pretty simple. I'm real interested in being a voice for the preservation of trees. I'm interested in balancing development and conservation. I think I can offer diversification to the committee, and I think it would be real helpful to have a lady's perspective on the commission.
Do you see any particular areas where we need a little bit more balance in terms of the preservation and progress? Anything in
Well,
particular?
I've just been concerned in the last several developments where a lot of trees have been clear cut.
Big trees,
Yeah, big trees. Yeah.
yes. All right. Any questions? All right, thank you,
Okay,
Ms. Buell.
thank you all very much.
Appreciate it. All right, and
Mr. Glatz.
last but not least, Jesse Glatz.
Evening, council, members of staff. So I've previously served on Zoning Board of Adjustments and Charter Review Commission. So I felt those were extremely good base foundation to learn about the city. I've also attended, I think, almost all the planning commission meetings for the past 3 or 4 months, just kind of get involved and then being involved in a strategic plan with the city. Some of the other workshops, the PID workshops. So I think a lot of that was a real good base foundation to start learning about the city and, you know, the way the city operates and what the plan is. So I'd be happy to fill the vacancy, learn even more, and then bring that perspective to help out. And kind of like Ms. Buell stated, you know, keeping that balance. We definitely want to be business friendly. We definitely need to look at bringing, you know, affordable housing to the area, but at the same time, keeping that level of, you know, attractiveness to the city and what the city has to offer. If anybody has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Council? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Glatz. Okay. All right, this is the hard part.
I'm looking through my, it's been a little while since I was liaison for planners, and I'm trying to remember who's on it. Jeff?
Right now, we have Jeff,
I'm working from like
Gilbert.
way this way.
Harry
Jeff Gilbert,
Sargent,
Harry,
Jeff Gilbert,
Jeff Gilbert,
yeah,
John Fay,
John,
and
Locke Sanders.
Locke Sanders. Locke is the chair.
right.
So, you know, correctly, you know, we could bring a female perspective to the board, and If you're looking for a motion, Ms. Mayor, I'd be glad to make a motion that we appoint Ms. Applin to the board, as she has a lot of experience for local business perspective, female perspective, and a lot of business sense from serving on various boards and commissions. So that would be my motion.
Any further discussion or a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All
Chase,
right.
you've been quiet over there, buddy.
I think Ms. Applin is a great idea.
Thank you, Chase.
All right, all in favor of Ms. Applin being appointed to replace Mr. Reinhardt, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank everyone for taking the time to be here and being willing to serve our community. We appreciate it. All right, move along. All right, item number 3, discuss and consider building lease with the SPCA of Brazoria County. This would be Miss Megan and Beata.
Yes, so as everyone is aware, we are in the process of trying to build our own facility. However, the SPCA has graciously agreed to work with us on a monthly basis until it is built, since our contract will expire before our facility is completed. They do plan on doing a substantial amount of renovations to the property, so in the near future, which I will let them speak on if they want. But they are requesting that we do a 20-year term, which would start once they complete the renovations, and then there could be an extension period of 5 years if we all agree moving forward from that. The lease payment would be $1,000 per month, and then they would pay for insurance. So we would cover it and they would reimburse us. So those are some terms that we have already worked out. And then I can if you guys have anything you'd like to add, or feel free.
Yeah, Beate Damm. I'm on the board of directors for the SPCA, and just wanted to give you some perspective for clarification purposes. So several years ago, 6, 7 years, this was prior to my time, the SPCA and the cities working together. The SPCA recognized that in 2023 the contracts are out and they were going to be looking for a building. At that time, an initiative was started called Build Love a Home. Some of you may have heard of that. And donations were thought to put together some funding to build a shelter for us after 2023. At that time, the city of Lake Jackson gifted us or told us we could provide property for you close to the mulch center, where actually now this new shelter for the city is being built. And so last year was a little, not a dilemma, but Modesto asked me how we would feel to give up that property that we were told we could have. And, we said, absolutely, we understand that you're building a new shelter. And that kind of changed our perspective a little bit. And we thought, well, maybe we should consider the building we're currently in and utilize the funds to remodel that building. It's in really bad shape if you haven't been there. Walls are falling apart, et cetera. And so we were talking about investing our money and our funds into that building to retrofit it to make a decent animal shelter for the SPCA. Now that said, as a donor, you're probably going, okay, well, how secure are the funds that I provided? And so, we feel that 20 years as a minimum would be something that if you were a donor, you would be acceptable to agree to, and 5-year lease or 10-year lease. I mean, that's just after, putting $1.5 million or more into it wouldn't be acceptable. And I wouldn't be able to approve that as a board. We wouldn't be agreeable to that. So that's why we came up with a 20-year lease term as a minimum, and paying a set amount of rent and insurance, or lease and insurance.
And there's not currently anything that the city needs this building for. We also believe that our partnership with SPCA is going to be invaluable once we open up our own facility. So this is something staff is very comfortable with, and something we're excited about moving forward. And we just, again, thank you for doing the month to month with us.
Yeah,
until our
absolutely. I
facility
mean,
can
this is a
open.
team effort.
Yes.
We have to help each other, but we really do think that as a council, consider the fact that having us next door is going to provide, you're new to this business, we're not, and it'll provide you with support that's next door, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I just had a question earlier. So I know like any parkland that the city owns has to go to the voters if we ever decided.
right.
Is it any property or just parkland? Like
It's
if,
just parkland.
so if at some point SPCA said, hey, we've invested this amount and we'd like to purchase this property, how would that work?
I don't think that's parkland.
It's not. So we would just get it appraised and then they could potentially buy it from us.
And that is of interest to us, for
Yes.
sure, and we could also discuss that,
Well,
now.
okay, so when we sell property, it's not like a private person selling it. There are some
go out to-
exceptions, but you have to do the fair market appraisal, then you have to go out for bid and let anyone bid on
Go
it.
to the
You
Okay.
can't just
highest bidder.
sell it.
Okay,
Right.
okay.
So that's how that would work.
Okay.
And I believe Modesto at this point isn't ready to let go of the land just yet either, just in case. But the 20-year is perfectly,
Yeah, I was just
Fair.
curious if there was a difference with parkland and other properties that the city owned.
It's, yeah, and we're doing that with Parkland, or we'll do it now with
Right.
those two little pieces.
On Lake.
It'll
Like
go
road.
out for bid,
Right.
because you can't just sell it to somebody.
So our Lake Jackson facility is going to be, is a holding facility. It's not really
Correct.
a SPCA type of facility. So having them close by will really benefit the city, I believe, because, the other animals that from other cities, we just dropped off in Lake Jackson could be going to their SPCA facility instead, keeping the load off of the city facility. So
Yeah,
I'm perfectly in favor.
Yeah, I think physical proximity alone is a really powerful motivator for me, just because, as I understand the business, it ebbs and flows as far as counts and numbers and on. So to the extent y'all have capacity and we don't, or vice versa, or just however, there's got to be some real benefits that could be struck just by being that close to one another and having lines of communication open. So it seems like a no-brainer to me if we don't have any present plans, near-term plans for that building, which I understand we don't, so.
yeah, we agree.
So
Okay.
I have a couple of questions. The insurance, so we're insuring the building,
And then it will be reimbursed
and does,
by them.
I don't know much about TML's insurance. They're okay with a different entity inside of the building that basically they're
Subleasing.
insuring and we're paying them?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Will there still be some membership on their board from, isn't there's some arrangement now where
That-
we have some oversight and maybe?
That board would
So
disperse.
That'll be
yeah,
dissolved.
the board is already,
Okay.
so to speak,
Dissolved.
dissolved, and that board was directing the contract we were under, but that board is no longer in
Okay.
place, so.
So that's a creature of that old contract?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And,
We may need
so
a
we
board.
want 20 years and just one 5-year extension, or did we want to just bump them up until we're ready to terminate?
Yes, so they were thinking an initial 20 years and then we could do 5-year increments after that if agreed by
Okay.
both parties.
All right.
We will take more, I mean, 10 years increments, I mean, we're interested in having that building if we're gonna invest in it, so we're open to.
And where
But-
did we come up with the number 20 years? Why
It
not?
was,
In
was their
Modesto, in
idea.
the conference room.
Okay.
We already started, I think, for 30, and I think we were offered 10, and we
Yeah.
kind of met in the middle at that point.
Okay.
And then the 5 years was to give either entity, whether it was the city or SPCA, the option to continue that
Right.
as well. So neither one of us got locked out.
Yeah, it's gotta be long enough to entice donors to feel like their money for
Absolutely.
capital improvements will be.
Which is why I went
Wasted,
initially
but-
for the 30 years,
Sure,
you
sure,
know,
sure.
and
Makes
and
sense.
that would make me feel more comfortable, just FYI, but, 20 years is a good start.
Yeah, and flesh it out as that gets closer. See if we can.
Chief, do you have anything to add to any of this? No?
No.
Okay. Anybody else?
good.
I see
Any other
Sherry
questions,
pursing her
Sherry?
lips. She might not be done yet.
Well, I
Hey,
found,
one question.
There's one.
Okay, so I see we're putting in the option if both parties agree for the 5-year extension. I think that's great. Do we need to, just to CYA for all of us, do we need to put in a provision if something were to happen, both parties agree that we can all walk away also, just in case, where everybody's not bind to it if something were to happen that we needed to have that discussion.
Do you mean during the,
I think that would be the 5 years. So at the 20 years, it gives the option whether it's the city or the SPCA. So if one of us didn't want to move forward, like if we did and the city didn't, you just vote against not moving forward. Or vice versa, if the city enjoyed us being there and we had other plans, we could say we're no longer interested in doing that. So I think that.
But 20 years would be firm, so that's.
Right,
Yeah,
the
the
20 years
5 years
is
is just
locked
an
in.
optional extension for
Right.
either party.
Right.
So answer
well,
to Jay says 20 years firm, so.
I have default and remedies in here. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
a,
and to the extent both parties agree, you can literally change it the day after you sign it. It happens all the time, right? So you don't have to do, so Chase, the way I understood what you were asking about it, if both parties agree to cut it off at some point, say after 5, I think if both parties agree,
Yeah,
you
we
can
would-
do that
yeah.
at any time. Doesn't need to be, this is sort of built into contracts
And we've
generally.
kind of been doing that with some other aspects with the MOUs already.
Sure.
You know, we've agreed on some things.
So I think that would be in there even if this is the lawyer talking, not the councilman, but yeah, it's in there regardless if both parties are on the same page.
But you're gonna have a tough time agreeing to that after investing a
That,
significant amount
that's
of money.
Sure,
exactly,
sure.
yeah.
Unless they can-
And we have to make sure the donors are happy with it
Correct.
too, yeah, so.
Yeah.
So,
And you feel like donors would be happy with 20 years instead of 30?
Yeah.
and as your renovations, you're not planning on expanding, you're just planning on renovating?
Well, we talked about maybe adding on to the building on one side where the runs are currently and moving the runs further out. I talked to
answer is yes.
Modesto about that, and, you know, there's a big, huge green way between your building and what we would occupy, but we need some space, quiet space for cats, for example, and so we would want to put that on that side of the shelter, on the left side if you're facing the shelter.
And potentially more parking as well, which would also be an expansion.
So in that case, I think we ought to have this thing platted, so
They already-
I think it
within
has
a
been.
certain plat, they can
Yeah.
expand with certain zoning and requirements of going to a planning commission, et
That's
cetera.
perfect, yeah, I think that would work well.
I think so, if whoever makes the motion should at least add that to the,
It's, okay.
it has been.
I'm looking at the lease, and the reason why I asked that was, I thought we had something in there. We have notice of plans for construction in the lease, Vinay, where they have to come,
They have to get approval.
I mean, and include
it
structure.
says ownership of improvement.
Yeah,
Yes, I read that, but it's not clear to me, but I'm not a lawyer, so.
what I want to add, I thought it was in here, I'm not seeing it, is that the city council will improve any, I mean, the renovation is fine, but any expansion that city council needs to approve of any expansion.
It's
Yeah,
not
but
just
it's
a
city-owned
renovation.
property, it ought to have.
Renovation is just the inside guts, but like moving it and, finding that quiet
Encroachments
spot for
itself, so.
cats.
Right now, the kennel space is not in good shape at all, or it's not the right fit, so what our vision is to really gut that down to the stubs, so to speak, and then it might wrap around further. That's why, we might change the footprint on that side somewhat. We'd like to have those options for sure,
So what I would put in is that you bring the plans to council and they take a look at it
Okay.
and say yes or no, before you do that.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, they understand that it's too small.
Yep.
That's fine. It's still our property and we might have to take it over later, so we just want to keep an eye on it.
Yep, that's understood.
Anybody have anything else? Anything from the audience? All right, take a motion.
Yes, Mayor, I move that we approve, I lost my place here. We approve the building lease with SPCA of Brazoria County as presented with the addition of discussion on the plat changes or boundary changes of the building.
Yes. Yes, second.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Thank you very much. All right. Item number 4, discuss and consider ordinance number 2250, designating the intersection of Larkspur and Dogwood as a one-way stop. Ms. Sherry. So there are yield signs, but apparently they're not working. And so this will make stop signs just on the 2 Larkspur sides, not on the Dogwood sides.
Do I need to read this?
So,
I need to read this, right?
Yes, and you need to read.
go ahead,
Hold on, go
please.
ahead.
Yep, please.
This is an ordinance by the Council of the City of Lake Jackson, Texas, designating the intersection of Larkspur and Dogwood as a one-way stop, providing for a penalty, providing a savings clause, providing that the ordinance shall take effect and be enforced 5 days after publication.
One-way stop.
So there's no stop on Dogwood, just a stop on Larkspur.
Wouldn't that be two-way? Am I being semantic there?
You know,
North and
I
south?
sit in my office thinking of these things. Thinking, is it, you're right, it's probably a two-way, and I'll bring it back in second reading as a two-way.
Okay.
But you know what I mean.
So
I do.
my question is, to me, changing a yield sign to stop sign does not fix the problem. So if there is an issue at the intersection that people are not stopping or yielding, they're not going to just not stop anymore. So they will do the same behavior than they're doing now. So that's my issue. I'm not opposed to putting a stop sign there. I'm just opposed to wanting to change the behavior.
What type of issue was brought up that brought this to
People pulling out.
traffic, why was this brought to us to be changed?
Increased traffic incidents.
Chief, can you?
I got a question for you anyway.
So yes, there was some concerns and some reports that folks were pulling out in front of the cars from the yield.
Are we having a lot of accidents there?
So I don't have the numbers a lot in the scheme of things, no. But anytime you have an accident like that at an intersection in a residential area, people get very concerned, and rightfully so. Of course, in this, yes, you could put a stop sign, the same activity could happen, yield or stop, but a stop sign is so much more enforceable than a yield sign. So that's where you get the change.
So that answers my
Well,
question.
yeah, when I worked the streets, and that was 15 years ago, I mean, it wasn't that much traffic. It was only in the morning and in the evenings back during that time. There was traffic in the middle of the day. It wasn't that much traffic. It was just morning time during the rush, and then evening time, and then after that, everything was settled down. So I was just wondering what brought that to our.
Well, Dogwood is a very busy street.
Dogwood is, and it always really
It's
has.
only in the morning, it's only in the evening.
Well, they have three-way stop signs, and no other street has a three-way stop signs like we have on Dogwood, 2 of them.
So my question was about enforcement, and it makes sense what you're saying. I actually did have a question too about that point, JB, and my question is a literal question. Is some of that, I was just wondering if there's been any impacts to say like time of day that cars are traveling around in light of the work from home, the increase in work from home due to COVID, right? Because back 10 years ago it was a no-brainer. People were moving in the morning and they're coming home after work is over. But now I don't go to the office every day, and I might, if I get a 1 hour break from 10 to 11, I might go run an errand during that time. So it's not your typical, you see what I'm saying? I just wonder if there's been any sort of tracking on the increase in residential traffic in normally off times, just by virtue of the fact that more people work from home now. I don't know. It's something to think
It's a
about.
question, and one I kind of, for sure. So is there a new dynamic because of what you're talking about? I think that's, everybody, there's a different work schedule now, and it doesn't mean always going to the office, and it doesn't mean going at the same time. Is that applicable to this particular intersection? I can't tell you for sure.
Yeah.
I can bring you more information if you'd like to.
No, it's just, I just don't want to give a false sense of security or people on Dogwood that, hey, now they have a stop sign, they're going to stop. And they don't stop.
I mean,
So-
we can't control what
No,
people's
you're right.
actions are
You're right.
ever,
And I'm
but
okay with
it's
that.
more enforceable.
But it is more enforceable, and I think that's, if there's going to be a win here, I think it will be.
And also in the past, we have done surveys that we put the little signs up, or take a survey of the people that live in the resident. Would they like to have a stop sign there? Or have we done anything like that? Or
there at that location? No, we have not. Not for
Yeah, I
Larkspur.
see what you're talking about. They used to put a small sign
Yeah, the
underneath the
small sign if,
Proposal.
a proposal.
Yeah, I think,
thing.
I can't think of anyone particular, but in the years I've made the meetings, I remember those sort of things taking place to get input from the people in the community.
Yes, the
that
people
live
that's
in
in
that
the community, that's
particular
just,
area.
that is truly
So make
affected.
sure you just don't have one or two people that have a particular
Correct.
issue as opposed to the harm that would come from it, basically, or the dislike versus the good that could come out of this. We haven't done that.
So
this
we
year.
hadn't done any study like that or done any?
We
Not-
could do
not-
that if you would like. We
Certainly
could
can.
defer this to the next meeting and send out a letter or post the signs if you would like.
But the traffic commission recommendation was to put a stop sign, so I don't see a
I-
problem.
I just asked.
And hopefully that's some of the homework that
We
they
can
would
do
have
that.
done
Yeah.
in the commission as part of what they do is to look into this.
I thought you was on the traffic commission.
Yeah, and I'm trying, I think this came up, I'm not sure they did that particular, inquiry.
But I know they measured the traffic counts and all
Yeah.
that,
I
they did
believe
all
so.
that stuff.
Oh, so they did do a traffic
Yeah,
count?
yes.
Yes, a regular
But they
traffic
didn't put a
study.
sign there asking for neighborhood, because this was an enforcement issue. I mean, just because somebody may say they don't want it, may not sway the decision not to have it, you know, so.
Yeah, we have this was brought because of the analytical data from the study, not because of public feedback necessarily. So if you want that public feedback portion, we can definitely do that. We'll just need to push this until a future meeting.
It's-
I'm personally comfortable with the traffic commission's recommendation
Yep.
myself.
They'll let us know if they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
You change the stuff on. We can always undo it.
All right, anybody, anything else? All right, let's take a motion.
Spare, I move that we, as per traffic commission recommendation, that we consider ordinance 2250 designating the intersection of Larkspur and Dogwood as a two-way stop.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Nay.
opposed?
Nay.
All right, motion carries. Chase, did you vote?
Yes, sorry, I voted for that.
Okay, thank you. All right, so motion carries. And Sherry, when you bring that back, you'll just change the wording.
I will fix it, and I will try to correct my thinking also.
Okay, all right.
Probably won't work though.
All right, number 5, approve change orders 5 through 9, which will be an increase of $88,341.66 for Phase 3 of the Downtown Revitalization Project. Ms. Megan?
Yes, so at the end of April, staff brought to you change orders 1 through 4, which you approved. That took our contingency balance down to about $800,000. These new change orders, 5 through 9, total up to about $88,000, which would take our contingency today to approximately $700,000. I will briefly go over what these change orders are, and if you have more questions, myself or Sal could answer. So change order number 5 is because there was a long sanitary sewer lead that had not been accounted for in the original bid documents. This was an add-on. 6 is to replace a cast iron water pipe under the new pavement and install it deeper. Number 7 is to install a direct traffic junction box lid and do some minor adjustments. Number 8 is to correct an oversight in drainage conditions not captured in the survey elevations. This is in front of 108 that way. And number 9 is to change the expansion and control joint layout of the intersection. This one was requested by engineering staff. So I know those are very high level. If you have questions about any of them, I will most likely yield to Sal. All of them are recommended by staff, though.
I had a question about, rough guess of what percentage do we think we're done with the project overall? And the reason I'm asking is because we're at about a third, maybe, of the money, contingent money.
So at this time, we have, if you remember the phases, there were 8 technically of different sides of streets that we needed to do. They currently have 1. They're working on phase 1. They're working on phase 3. They skipped phase 2. But we did have the first phase, which was the drainage and utilities portion. That part is mostly complete, which is the most intensive because as you saw, we had to touch every section of the project. So I don't know if Sal can give you an actual percentage guesstimate, but that is what has been completed or worked on so far.
Sure he can.
So most of the undiscovered parts, surprises that are underground work, so
Yeah.
that's mostly done. You should not have any change orders unless we request them to make them.
Right,
Am I
Sal? Wes, we have about, we had to start with $1 million worth of contingencies for allowances like this thing, and we realize that we do run across that type of problem. Typically, the allowance is probably at the high end would probably be about 50% of the amount of the project. We have gone through about, I'm going to say about 6% of the allowance right now. There were, I mean, Megan said some amounts there. I think we have a little bit higher than that left than that. We have about, I'm going to say about 30% of the project, of the overall project that has been completed. But most of the surprises that involved all these change orders have been the underground that typically becomes a problem because those are unknowns, unexpected type of situations. The engineer couldn't pick it up during the surveying. Sometimes we didn't know we had those type of situations there. So what we are now expecting, now that the primary underground has already been completed and we are about in the next 2 weeks, we're about to complete entirely. That includes sanitary, water line, and drainage, which are the unknowns. We expect that the concrete will not bring about these type of changes. So we are comfortable in the money that we have there that is going to pay, it's going to take us to the completion of the project. Thank you, Sal.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions?
Hey, I do have one question. Sorry, y'all know I'm playing catch up. Contingency balance I'm looking at was roughly 1.1 million at the beginning.
Yes.
Just so I understand, that contingency money was built into
Yes.
the bond, correct?
Yes, Chase. Yes, it was. It's just not part of their bid. It's not part of the contract that we gave them, so we always have to bring contracts back to you because you're giving them more money in their contract.
Got you. I just wanted to make sure we weren't having to pull that money out of somewhere else. That's part of bond money as our contingency balance.
No, sir, it was part of the budget.
Okay, perfect. That's what I needed. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll take a motion.
I would move to approve change orders 529, an increase of $88,341.66 for phase 3.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against?
I voted aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, number 5, CIP project update. Again, Megan.
Yes, so this is going to be our final update and chance to talk about CIP before the Saturday workshop with council. You should have 2 sheets in front of you. One is for general projects, one is for utility projects. Chase, these should have been sent to you if you have your email accessible. I want to point out the only changes that have been made since the last meeting, and this is not to the actual balances. This is just something we did from a staff perspective. So if you look at the utility projects fund, you'll see that on the second project down, the recycling staging facility, if you go over to fiscal year 22-23, you'll see OT for $300,000. That is because Modesto would like to allocate $300,000 of the COVID second round money to the recycling staging facility. This will cover engineering and design work. Then in future years, you see UP, which is the utility projects fund. We would fund the rest of that theoretically through this fund, but we wanted to put other primarily because it is still a utility project and it will be funded out of this fund in future years. So it has not changed the rest of the projects. It hasn't changed balances or anything. As you can see at the bottom, it is funded by other, which is COVID money.
What do we anticipate that money coming in?
So we've already gotten the first tranche, which was a little over 3 million. I believe it was 3.3. We've spent, well, we have about 1.5 remaining of that. The rest has went to CIP. So that is what you'll see. We sort of allocated the rest of the 1.5 tonight. But then we will have another about 3.3 million. It's supposed to come in 2023. So they gave us the first amount. We're hopeful that the feds will give us the second amount as well, but they're saying 2023 right now. And then if you go on to the general projects fund, the first one on the list is to replace a fire truck tower. It is, the $900,000 is just the down payment on that. It is actually a $2.1 million truck. We could not fit that into equipment replacement purely because our entire equipment replacement budget was 2.2 million. So we would not have been able to replace any other equipment for the entire city if we gave them this truck for 22-23. So this is for the deposit. We are hoping to spend the COVID money on this. Again, you are not agreeing to this right now. I'm just making sure you know that this is where we're just doing this for simplicity's sake. So that would allow them to purchase it. We have lead times of over a year for fire trucks right now. So the deposit would allow them to order that. Then if you go down to number 4, based on the conversations that were had at the last council meeting, we added a new item, the business facade grant program. Ballpark, we did 200,000. Obviously this will still be talked about, and that's why I say you're not approving anything, but this is so we bookmark that money until council has the workshop or the conversation about if you even want to do that program, which staff will be bringing to you in the future. So if you look at the bottom where it says other, that totals up to 1.1. Nothing else on the general side has changed either, based on the last meeting. So those are 3 things I just wanted to point out. I know we gave you time to talk about the general projects last meeting. This meeting is mostly just so you can talk about the utility projects, or both. It's open. We left the description open to both. So this would be essentially your last chance to really tell us if there's something, a different project you want us to look into before the workshop, or if there's something that you think we should take off the list, look at reallocating, anything like that. This is what the time is for. So
the business, because I thought we were talking about a grant through that.
yes, it would be a grant program, and again, it's not being allocated here. We'll discuss that later. It's just, we wanted to put it on the list.
Just a placeholder for now.
Yes, yes, sir.
So I was thinking that was it 1.2 or 1.9 million dollars that they estimated? It was 1.9 for the recycling.
Yes, ma'am.
So the initial 300,000, if we go this way, will be COVID money.
Yes.
And after that, we'll be funding it through the utility project.
Or through other means, but yes.
CPI.
If our federal government follows
Yes.
through as
Yes.
trustworthy as they are.
Yeah. But we at least want to get the design and engineering rolling on that. So we'll bring COVID projects to you probably right as soon as budget is done, but we just wanted you to bookmark that. So happy to answer any questions. Again, if there's a project you want to talk about or one that you want us to reevaluate, please let us know. Or if there's something that didn't make the list that you want us to look into before the Saturday workshop, happy to do so.
And that workshop is sometime in July?
Yes, July 9th, I believe, whatever that Saturday is, starting at 8 a.m.
Oh, my.
I'll feed you breakfast.
What Saturday?
July 9th. And it'll be at the Civic Center for anyone in the public that would like to come as well.
Anybody else?
Questions? Okay.
All right, moving on. Item number 7, construction updates. All good news tonight, right, Sal?
Everything is good news. All the bad news went by just in that change order. No, we now that we see the light a little bit, it's not the train coming. It's really the light.
You said that last time, Sal.
No, we are into now actually starting to break the concrete now, and the first. What we did was one of the first mistakes we did was to allow a lot of the concrete to be removed
and not follow up with the actual payment the way it was supposed to. So we learned a lesson. That lesson now is being told to the contractor. The contractor's aware of that. So now every time that he runs the breaks the concrete, he's going to have to come in back immediately and put in there, which now can be done because all the like I said, all the underground has now been completed. There shouldn't be any problem there. So now they're starting to moving a little bit stronger on the concrete portion. They're working on the Circleway area between the local and the in La Bodega. And so they're working on that particular stretch right now. The parking lots are going first, and then the travel lanes going in second. At the same time, probably about the end of this week, probably some of the pavers are going to be moving into that way portion that has been already completed, so that they can finish off that section of the pavement there, so that we can open up for traffic, and then they can start working on the opposite side. They are finishing up on the drainage portion going down towards Oak Drive on that way. They have not made the crossings, and there's only one crossing they still need to do. They're doing some parallel line work at this time. And hopefully that will then just free us into just pavement and flat work type of work, which is a lot more tolerable. Of course, it's also going to be impacting the access to the properties, which is going to be, again, painful. And we just need to realize that and not jump into stuff, but we are trying to get it out as fast as we can. That is our downtown. On the utility side of things, we have now put out the bid out for the what do we call the water tank mixers that had been left out there for a long time. We finally, I think, we had put that project out twice already. We had not gotten any type of response from anyone. This time around, we decided to put it immediately out there and see whether or not we had a little bit better results. And we are already having some interest from some of the contracting firms outside. So that, probably, means that we're going to be able to carry this project through, which is part of the water issue that we had back in almost 2 years now, I guess. So that project will be in. We also have a Beechwood chemical building, which is probably an adjunct to this particular mixer project. And that one also has been languishing out there for many, many years. I think now we are probably going to be getting something out there and finally doing this particular project out. It hasn't gone out for bid yet. We're still working with the engineer on some final directions that we gave him. But that should be coming out real soon. We are putting those projects out ourselves here in-house to accommodate that. North Parking Place facade renovation after a long waiting period on the second supply of that metal. It has finally arrived. The finishers or the metal finishers have moved in. They worked on the Taekwondo building today. And hopefully this afternoon, I didn't go by this afternoon to see where they had finished that particular portion of it, but now they are wanting to move in there and hopefully by week's end at least finish the facades. Not entirely cleaning up or anything, but at least finishing up that facade portion of that. We have you saw that you just approved the additional work that Kimberly Horn was doing on the lift station 1 analysis of that particular project there, and Kimberly Horn has already performed all those functions there. They have come back to us telling us that their original estimate for pumping capacity now has been diminished, thankfully. Originally, they didn't know, but now after running the numbers that this particular extension project allowed them to do, they feel more comfortable in providing us a more of, I guess, more in-line type of facility. The Pin Oak Court project that we have under design is still developing. Have not gotten, I'm supposed to be getting a 30% design phase type of, but I'm still waiting on that particular one so that we can move that along. And that is the extent of our projects, and we are going to let, I'm going to let our Parks Director, is she
Real,
there?
real quick before we switch out here, I've had a lot of contact and I've communicated with you, both you and Modesto, with business owners. We're going to go through some growing pains. This is very messy. We understand that. But as much as possible, we have got to help these businesses maintain some sort of access. I've had multiple phone calls this week where a business had zero access front or back, and just communicate with our companies as much as possible. You know, keep your equipment moving, keep the concrete going where it needs to go.
We have, as a matter of
Help them
fact,
out.
Kimberly Horn, Connie Curtis for Kimberly Horn, who is the project manager, has been already in contact with the engineer and exactly putting those things about bringing in this schedule that they originally laid out at the very get-go that has not been followed, and told to really bring it back into control there. And Modesto then assigned us the setting up a meeting with the contract, which we will be holding probably this week, and where we'll bring them in and actually ask them to give us 2 week and 4 week type schedules, and also the access plan that they have, especially in the area of the North Parking Place, which is going to be a complex one.
And then I'll be giving that information about, we're going to do once a month meetings with the business owners. So, because we can rely on 2 to 4 week schedules. The schedule they gave us a couple months ago, though, that gave us for the entire project, it's not reliable at this point. So,
And that was one of the requests that I had encountered, was as much as possible to keep the meetings scheduled. It kind of rough, don't give them a 2-hour notice on the meeting.
Well,
If possible,
in all respect, it wasn't the contractor that
Right.
created that. It was us. We were the problem. And we finally realized, and we try to straighten that out now. Hopefully, we have straightened that out.
Thank you.
Plus, our business owners need to be a little more flexible as well. I got a complaint that they have to wash their cars 3 times a week, because of construction. So we have to be reasonable here. So.
And I'm not getting really those. What I've been hearing is just literal access to be able to get into their businesses, both for the employees and
we're working on all of that right now.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
thank you.
All right.
And I do have one more small update before Robin takes over on downtown. You will be seeing a change order. This is just to mentally prepare the public and council. We have gotten requested by 3 businesses on Circle Way. LJ Flower is spearheading it. There is a large tree out in front of their business, and it has caused, the roots came up, and it's caused a lot of breakage with the concrete. It also partially died during the winter storm, and so I guess it is unattractive as far as trees go. So the 3 businesses that are right there in front of it have requested us to remove the tree and to potentially put back something similar but smaller, more manageable, and also to figure out, there's apparently some sort of lining that you can put underneath the concrete so that roots don't come up. So they have requested this. You will see a change order the next time we bring change orders to you for this. I know how people feel about trees here, so I just wanted you to have time to talk to citizens and get feedback if you feel that's necessary before the 3 businesses I've heard from are LJ Flower, Nixon Kessler Insurance, and then Table 24. So all three are directly in front of this tree.
So they realize that that's city property, it's not.
Yes, that's why they're
So-
requesting us to have it removed, yes. So, just wanted to give you a heads up. That is the only update I have, though. So, Robin, take it away.
So even the pictures that I sent you, I don't know if they were on the report for the skate park, it's even changed even more. It's really going forward. They're going to be done with most of their stuff. They had said maybe by the end of this month, but doesn't mean it will be finished. We still have a few other things to do, but we are looking for end of July. I'm not even going to give a date. That we'll probably do soft opening, and we're working on a grand opening. I don't want to rush into it. I really want to plan something great for this. So we'll get that together. So we are going to Parks Board tomorrow night for the rules. We have to get those approved and stuff, and then you'll be seeing that on the next meeting. So it's exciting. It looks really good. So
It does.
they've done an awesome job, way ahead of schedule, and they've really messed up me. So all these other projects. The roof, I thought this was going to be my last day
more
to come
weeks.
to you. No, it's like two pieces like this big that they shorted them on. But I do have to give Jaco, those guys sat out there last week and they were so ready to get it done. It was 100 degrees and they were on that metal, putting those metal roofs. I don't know how they did it. It was unreal. They were like superheroes. So anyway, but yeah, it's just a few small pieces and they were shorted on, and then we'll be finished. But it does look good. If you drive by, it's the front roof right where the kids' zone was. So it looks really good. And other than that, that's all.
So
Unless
the
y'all have any
concrete
questions.
issue that you had at the skate park has been taken care of?
The what?
The concrete pour issue?
Yes,
that-
and that really wasn't an issue. That was something, it's a little bit different on how skate parks actually pour their concrete. And so what Eddie had seen is a little bit different than how you would do a street. For them, because again, like the mayor had said, you have to do things before it gets too hot in the day. They pour sections at a time for like their ramps. These are the colored parts of the concrete. They have to do it in sections because you have to form it up and, do all, whatever you call it. And you can't do that within that many hours. You have to get it done before it gets too hot. And so when they do it, they'll do this section, and then of course there's going to be excess, and then they come in and they cut that out. And that was just something typical that they'd been doing. It's just not something that you see on streets or anything.
Okay.
But it's a
non-issue.
definite, yes. And I've, when there's other skate parks that this company has done, one for sure is in Alvin, and we've spoke to them before we even did this, and they've had no issues with any of their stuff. So they're a really good company, very reputable. So.
I just don't want to have a separation.
No, there wouldn't be anything like that. No, and if so, like I said, there is warranties and stuff too. And they come back and check things, and they're working with us on preventative maintenance because we'll have to do our part too.
Thank you.
That it?
Thank you, Ms. Robin. All right. Items of community interest. JB?
The only one I have, guess, I thought the chief was gonna bring it up, but I guess I'll bring it up. On the 28th, they're gonna have a unveiling of PC Miller, the new sign that they put in out front. They was working on it today as we came in, and it's looking nice out there.
Worth the wait.
Where's the wait?
It'll be at
5 o'clock.
5 p.m. Yes, sir.
Is that correct, chief?
Yes. Next Tuesday.
Mr. Broadus?
Nothing for me, thank you, no.
Chase, do you have anything?
I'm good. Thank you all very much.
Okay. And Mr. Leonard?
Nothing. Thank you.
Also, one other thing, Friday night concerts, been having a great time.
Yep.
Yes.
Come out, we got a couple more, and 4th of July is coming up, so we
Yep.
should
Make your
have
plans.
a good one for that one.
This past week, I had the pleasure to attend the ribbon open ceremony for the Chicken Salad Chick. Fantastic chicken salad. They've done a beautiful job. Where is it? It's over by HEB in that little strip beside them, next to the urgent care. And they do have a drive-through. So, but their chicken salad is fantastic. They've done a beautiful job. They've taken a lot of old pictures of Lake Jackson, and that's a big part of their decor.
So I actually asked them where they got those from. They hired a photographer to take those, so
down.
those are new, but they're fantastic, like so
Beautiful
much so that I
pictures.
was like, where did you get that picture?
Yeah, it just
So,
feels
yeah,
like part
it's
of
a
Lake
great-
Jackson.
It
Yeah.
is.
And
I
my
had
wife
lunch
was
there
the
today.
100th person in line to get a free chicken salad
Yeah,
Nice.
excellent.
for a year.
Yep,
For a year.
all right. Anybody have anything else?
I do have a reminder, July the 5th, y'all's next meeting will be Picture Day.
And it's on a Tuesday because Monday is a
Yes.
holiday.
So just remember,
It's on my calendar.
so I'll send y'all information on that.
Thank you, Sally. That's all. All right.